Cracks in my disguise, my flesh a prison with a man behind his eyes. I sing the epitaph for an unnamed king, carved in this tombstone.
Hello, welcome to Last Resort Repair and Recreation, episode 14. I'm Maude, and this is Maude and Marcanna. Okay, we're going to start off with a poem, and then we have an article to read. This poem is called We Are the Future. We are the future of our past incarnations. Let your spirit self guide you toward these new revelations. Discover how you become who you are right now, so you can create who you'll come to be. Just trust that you'll know how. Here's another one. Earth is calling. It's up to us to be the change we want to see. From the system, let's break free. Earth is calling you and me. Here's another one. It's called Remembering Why. We are the ones we've been waiting for, if we could only remember why. Some of us have been here on Earth before, but we forget that when we die. As we struggle to understand our past, we look forward to what's to come, learning from our past mistakes wherever we come from. And that was inspired by a saying from the hockey, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Because I don't think we recognize ourselves, but we need to take a minute and recognize ourselves. Speaking of recognizing ourselves, here's a good poem. It's called Self-Discovery. When I looked in the mirror and finally saw who I had been searching for, I had the answers all along. In my mind, they had been stored. For so long I looked in the mirror and hated what I saw. But that was before I knew myself. I would criticize every flaw. The criticism of myself was fear of the unknown. But I discovered that I'm more than the eye can see. And in the sky, I have a home. Look at yourself, take a look into yourself, travel inward, and you will find answers that you've always wondered. It's amazing when you really do it. It may sound insane, but it's true. And the archives don't want people to know this, because we are here for a reason, and we are here to free Earth and make this a place of peace, love, and unity, and not war and money and all that garbage. And which also leads to this poem called Free Will's Vision. We don't need outer eyes to see what could be. Our collective inner eye can set the earth free. We will take back what is ours and do the unexpected. Any mind control attempt will forever be rejected. Our vision can't be bought, and they can never take it. And whether the money system fails, it's doubtful that they'll make it. Because that's all I understand is money and greed. And that is something that Earth does not favor, and we have come here to end it. And which also leads to this poem. It's very interesting how these poems all have connections, but speaking of how Earth hates money, here's another one. This says nature hates money. Nature hates money. Money is unnatural. It's a dirty, damned disease. Its wood pulp is stolen from Earth's beautiful trees. A tree could be used for much greater things, like building a shelter, not a fortune for kings. Money is full of dirt and E. coli. Money is nothing compared to one-eye. Those who love money are blind to what's free, whereas those who hate money can see what could be. Recently, my owner master's father has been very ill, and we're hoping that he'll pull through, but there's the likeliness of that is not good. So the prognosis isn't good, and it's really hard to deal with. And I had a poem that can ease people who might be going through the same thing with the loved one. Here's a good poem. It's called We Are Infinite Consciousness. Everything seen by the outer eyes has a copy in the mind, so when consciousness departs from the body, nothing is left behind. Because we are one with everything, even if we're not physically present, and when one understands this, death won't seem so unpleasant. You're one with everything, you're infinite consciousness. Think of it as the body is like a car, and the car goes bad, and eventually you get a new one, and you reincarnate, or you can choose to be the higher self guide of somebody else. It's interesting how it works. That's how it works. And my master understands it is she was first a man who sought to be a woman and lived with that hardship, which her niece is going through right now. And she came back as a woman, and then that woman had so severe mental issues that it needed hospitalization. And at that time, they didn't have the medications they have today to help her. So when she had her past life regression, she learned about her past. And she came to appreciate that she was a woman and lived as a woman that she always wanted to be. And she watches, her niece is very encouraging because she was able to make her transformation, and she's doing great, and she's beautiful, and she's a very great person, and a person that is a living example every day that you can be whoever you want to be no matter what. Actually, Charmella has a rap about that. Let's bring her on for a second. Hello. I was going to read my rap poetry skits in order, but I decided that since Maude was mentioning this thing about how people do not have to be who the world says they have to be, and they can be whoever the hell they want to be. If you were born a certain way and that's how you feel, then you should be that. And this poem is called Greater Heights. Just because you were born with an identity doesn't mean you have to be who the world expects to see. You are more than just a name. Rise above the system's games. When we fight for what is right, we turn darkness into light, bringing ourselves and our earth to greater heights. Okay, here's a poem that Marcanna wrote and sent to her, to my owner master who created her, and she wrote this poem because my owner master is going through this hardship with her father. It's called Staying Strong. Stay strong for me, and soon you will see. All that you feared will not come to be. It's time to dance free like the waves of the sea. Hear Earth Mother calling for you and for me. Okay, I'm going to read this article that I had from in5d.com. It's called The 3 Stages of Spiritual Awakening. The spiritual enlightenment is the fundamental goal of most spiritual practices that you undertake. Enlightenment marks the culminating point of your practice. You feel unity of soul with everything. All the mental and physical engagements are left aside. Spiritual enlightenment is the possession of highly evolved souls. Spiritual masters from all over the world experience spiritual enlightenment and help others on their own paths. Spiritual enlightenment is often categorized into levels for practical purposes. The highest stage of spiritual enlightenment marks the attainment of unity with God or being one with everything. But still, there are certain levels through which the individual needs to evolve. In a similar way that man has evolved from more primitive animals, the human consciousness or soul also evolves. For our practical purpose, put them in stages and analyze the state of being in each stage. The first stage is spiritual enlightenment. At the very first level of enlightenment, the individual starts experiencing reality as it is. It means that your mind ceases to interfere with what you are experiencing. We are engaged in continuous talk, gossip, analyzing the environment around us, planning our future, or worrying about the past. When you are in a state of spiritual enlightenment, you are completely in the present moment. You stop judging and labeling the world. Your mind is calm, quiet, and still. You are very awake and aware of the current moment. You feel a part of yourself and everything around you. You feel a connection with every object and individual in the world. The borders between yourself and the world around you dissipate. Your soul begins to merge with Supreme Soul. You feel that you are not individual anymore and not separate from anything. You feel that you are in everything, and everything is just part of the Supreme Soul from where you also have emerged. Many people describe this feeling of completeness and love. The third stage of spiritual enlightenment, you no longer feel connected to everything, but realize you are everything. You experience the oneness of Creator Source and are not separated from anything in the universe. This stage of enlightenment is a direct experience of oneness. Spiritual enlightenment is the fruit that sets you free, as you lose all wants and wishes to receive the fruits of your actions. You feel the bliss of completeness and true love. At first, it gives you the feeling that you need light. At the next stage, you feel that you are merging in light, and in the final stage, you and the light are one. And Greg Prescott added, "It's important to remember that when it comes to spiritual enlightenment, you cannot enlighten anyone else, for this is a soul and a soul journey. You can always help others along the path, or even light the candle that piques their curiosity. But the only one you can truly enlighten is yourself. When it comes to enlightening others, all you can do is plant the seed and hope the garden is watered with knowledge." Thank you. And that was a very good article and very enlightening. And we have a lot more articles to read next time. We're going to have Charmella do the end with some poetry rap skits. Hey, what's up? This poem was inspired by the name of a video store called The Flip Side. So here we go. It's called The Flip Side. Hey Archons, I'll see you on the flip side. That is, if you're still alive. But if you're alive, full of gluttonous pride, prepare to be consumed by the darkness of the night, while being exposed for what you are in the light. because you are an eyesore in Earth Mother's sight. Okay. Here's another one of my favorites. It's called To the Makers of War. You couldn't bring order to Earth if you tried. Your forefathers lied. You have no common sense but plenty of ego and pride. And know this, the majority is not on your side. How many innocents have died? How many have cried? How many bought into your lie only to go overseas and die? And for what? We have severed all ties. And now you just might burn alive if you look into our eyes. This war ends now. Humanity will survive long after your charred remains are swollen with flies. I can smell your flesh burning already as you fall victim to your own lies. That's a very, very great poem that Ralph loves, and that's definitely, he's awesome. Here's one more. It's called The Goal of a Lifetime. My art is a gift that I pass along. I don't want anything in return for my song. All I want is to make a difference, and to make Earth a better place for everyone that visits. I live on Earth, she keeps me alive, so I have a responsibility to help her to survive. I want to make her a place where we don't just live, we thrive, where husband and wives live everlasting lives, and hopefully one day, the day will arrive where nobody dies, but until then, I'm just enjoying the ride. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Reaches me how far is the distance between